Yeah, Isaiah, I was just curious from the spring, you had a pretty big red-white game. Have you been able to build on that leading into this season?
My focus since the spring game has just been to focus on the little stuff, the details and stuff, working on my route running, my blocking, and obviously my catching.
You're playing the slot primarily, at least that's what we see you out there. It looks like you guys are working a lot of screen game stuff. You see that as being a big part of this offense, and how can you excel?
I mean, I love the screen game. Get to really utilize my speed on those, so I really like screens and hope that we call them in the game.
You were one of the guys that clocked 22 miles an hour. Both of you guys, I believe. But I was curious, Isaiah, you come from such a track background. Your parents were track people, obviously. You won all four events in the 6A state championship. What was your, just like, how does that translate for you over to football? And also, I was just curious, like, what's your fastest 100-meter time?
I mean, I've always been a runner and stuff, and football it translates to track really, really well. And I just try and use track as much as I can whenever I'm in my receiver stance, just pushing out like I'm in blocks and stuff, and just have big long strides whenever I'm in the open field, and then kind of chop it down a little bit whenever it's a little bit closer. But in the 100, my freshman year, I ran 10.8, and that was my fastest time in the 100. Yes, sir.
Andrew, you told me during the recruiting, you and Isaac both told me one of the reasons you were considering here of the success that Matt Landers and Jaden Hazelwood had. Now, Coach Guyton talks about you and Isaac being two of the leaders. Talk about how you come in and kind of taking the role that those guys had last year and kind of influenced you coming here.
Well, basically, I just get into the room. I talk to the guys. All the guys trust me. I trust them. We all just talk as a whole. If somebody does something wrong, we all come together. Nobody's mad at nobody because we rather it happen at practice than it happen in the game. So we make all our mistakes in practice. We go to the game, no mistakes. That's we want that level to be very low. So as a whole offense, receivers, whole line, like we all just come together and just play as one.
Isaiah, it seemed like last year during the spring break, after the spring break, Jaden had that accident, and then Tyrone got hurt. It seemed like you kind of took off then. I mean, it just seemed like you picked up your intensity or you just had more success. Talk about that, Isaiah. I mean, you finished out like I think Trey said with the spring game, you played really well.
I've never been the type to really worry about other people. I've just been trying to focus on myself. Like I said, focus on the little details and stuff. And, just play my game, like just show the world who Isaiah is because, they haven't seen it yet. So that's just what I've been trying to do.
Yeah, Andrew, we were talking to a coach here recently, and they were talking about when the transfers came in, they didn't want to step on people's toes, and they just kind of, learn and all. But here, now you're a leader in the room. What was it that maybe you saw that, like, hey, I can show my experience to these guys? What was that?
When I came in, I didn't want to be like, I didn't want him to put me in just a starter role. I wanted to work. I wanted to start from the bottom, like to show like what I can actually do. And I feel like I've been doing a great job, and not only me, the young guys too, but they've been doing a great job. Sam and Bake, Jadon, Isaiah, all the even all the new guys, Davion been doing really good. Like, so I just look at all of them and I use them as motivation. I feel like they use me as motivation with my, and I've been in college for so long, what I did last year and bring my experience here. I feel like it's going to be a very good year.
Davis coming back, was that attracted for you to come here, and what's it been like building the rapport with him?
It's definitely been when I seen he was coming back. That gave me even more thought of coming to the University of Arkansas and being in Fayetteville. And it just, throughout the summer, we threw when we had off days. Even we didn't have an off days really, but we threw a lot. Like even in the afternoon after workouts, we'll go home, take a break, come back up here during the afternoon and throw. So it just been very, very getting our timing right, good with KJ.
Andrew, I've noticed that you and Snacks just like really get after it. I feel like you guys line against each other more than anybody. Just what is it about that relationship with you and him?
Yeah, me and Snacks, Jadon too, we all been knowing each other since I've been knowing Snacks since I was like 7th grade. So we went against each other in high school, 7-on-7 a lot. So when we came up here, we both came up here. Me and him just going against each other, it makes him better, makes me better. Even Nudie, I go against Nudie too. Nudie, it makes me better, makes him better, So we all just compete Because like I said, I'd rather lose against them here than lose against somebody in the game, you know. So we just take that all in and just hone in on all those things.
And Isaiah, of course, last year I think you had a rolled ankle or something, but your connection with KJ, how is that coming along? Just being able to get some first team reps in camp and all that.
I mean, KJ, he always gonna throw it on the money, so we just have the easy part. We just got to catch the ball and stuff. So, KJ, I can see like the improvement from last year, and like, I mean, all the receivers, we know what he's about to do this year. So,
Andrew, transferring to Arkansas from a smaller school, has it hit you yet that, like, I'm sure every kid kind of grows up wanting to play big time college football, that this is that you're gonna have that opportunity this fall?
Absolutely. It's hit me, but at the end of the day, I just sorry. I just take it as like, football is football. It's people in lower level football that's very, very good. It's people that high level football that's very, very good. So I don't look at it as like, okay, I'm going against, the best of the best. It's a lot of great players all around the country in every single division. So I just come in here and I'm just, ready to play football and ready to see the fans.
Outside of the football, is there, like, what's the biggest shock maybe coming to like a big SEC program? The facilities, the food, what's kind of been like, oh, this is a little different than where I was?
Yeah, the facility, the food, the fans, the stadium, like just even if we work out in the stadium, like just looking around and seeing all those seats, because I didn't see those seats in my old school. About yeah, it wasn't that big of that stadium. So me just looking at that stature is just crazy.
It seems like you made a big jump from your sophomore to junior year at your old school. What kind of, what changed for you to allow you to have such a good season last season?
I was just, I just honed in last year. My last year receiver coach, he really told me that, I got this. And I actually, just made sure I honed in on the small details of my releases, my routes, not rolling into routes, actually getting the break of my routes. So that really helped me. I had seniors in front of me the year before, so I really didn't touch the field as much. But the year after that, I actually got the chance to show what I could actually do.
Both of you, what was it like working with KJ in the offseason, and like what type of emphasis was placed on going and throwing with receivers on your own?
I mean, whenever we would throw, let's say we didn't get something right, or I mean, it was a missed throw, like we would have to rep it again, and just repetition, I'd say, was the biggest thing, and being consistent with it.
Yeah, along with what Isaiah say, just making sure we had that
Great timing and things like that, such as like he said, if we mess up, well, we'll run it back. I remember I had to run it back like 3 times because we just couldn't get the timing down, but we started to get it down. It starts to connect, and so I feel like it was just a great point coming into fall camp.
Wait, another thing is like with the new offense that we're running, like with the old offense, let's say we would have a dig, but it would be like now we could still run a dig, but it's just like a little different. Like let's say we have to edge cut it, so the timing with that is different and stuff. So just getting that down.
And Coach Guyton earlier, probably heard him say that you're a savvy guy on top of your speed. Like in your mind, what's savvy? Like what's the savviness?
Savvy, I guess he just said I know how to get open. It's like when I'm on the field, it just I'm type of a reaction player. Like I just react to what goes on. So I know how to find the zones. I know how to it just clicks in my head when I'm on the field. Like I don't think so much. I just go.
For both of you guys, what kind of a camp has Isaac had, and like maybe where can he help you guys with?
Tesla is just I go home and watch film, and I'm trying to watch me, but I go to watch him, like he just pops out on the screen, so I just go and watch him, and then the next thing you know, I'm 5 plays into watching film, and I'm still watching him, not knowing that I'm supposed to be watching myself. But Tesla's really tough at what he does in the weight room and just everything. He's that guy.
Yeah, he's a big physical guy, but I think what stands out the most about him is his hands. I mean, he's consistent with it. He's always going to make that big catch.
I forgot to ask you guys earlier. Last year, KJ missed a couple of games with injury. That can always happen. What have you seen from Jacoby Criswell? Can both y'all answer that?
I mean, Jacoby, he has a cannon. He wants to throw it deep every time, and I mean, his intermediate passes are really good too. And I mean, we didn't have him last year, so this is my first time throwing with him and stuff. So, I mean, I really like going with him. And I mean, I'm a deep threat, so I love going with him.
Yeah, Jacoby knows what he's doing in the backfield, and you love to see that from a guy that plays quarterback because he's the leader. He has to be the leader of a team. His short pass game, his intermediate deep ball, like you said, he's got a can of arm. He knows how to throw it. He knows how to read the zone, knowing if his man. So it's just he's very great.
I was going to ask on Jacoby, but I just got one question for you, Isaiah. Recruiting process for you. You seemed like you were trying to get away from home. Maybe you committed to Texas A&M for a little while, committed to Oregon for a few months, and then come back around and settled in on Arkansas. What was that process like for you? What were you looking for, and just what did you ultimately end up finding closer to home?
I would just say I didn't know exactly what I was going to get with Arkansas, and I remember going to the Texas game, and it was like second game of the season, and I didn't even go as a recruit. Like I went with my buddy, and just the atmosphere there, I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go here. Like I didn't tell anybody, but I knew like I was gonna go here, and so I started getting recruited again and stuff, and I feel like Coach Pittman and Coach Guyton is another big reason as to why I came here, and they just made it feel like home. And Coach Pittman, he's a great coach, and I just couldn't turn it down.
Andrew, yesterday we got the chance to talk to the DBs, and I know you talked about the competition that you guys have with them, but Nudie seemed really impressed. He was like, Andrew's just changed so much from spring to now. All of us DBs are impressed with him. Can you talk a little bit about, you talked about your game and how it changed from last year to this year, but talk a little bit about where you feel like it's changed from spring to now.
I feel like when I got here in the spring, I was still kind of nervous, trying to feel my way out. But now, going through summer, but actually building a relationship with all the players on the team, like I'm very confident right now, with the playbook. I make sure I'm in the playbook every day before I go to bed, and just like knowing the plays, knowing everything. So when I get out on the field, I can go 110 miles per hour. So that's my main thing about what's been went from spring to fall camp.
I think that Andrew, the thing that sticks out to me the most about him is his like polishness. He's a really polished receiver, and just his hands. Like he's always going to make the catch. Like today, he had a really nice one-hand grab, and he's physical and stuff too. But he's a great receiver.
Isaiah, Coach Fountain seemed pretty stoked about maybe having you on a kickoff return. I'm wondering like what your level of wanting to do kickoff, maybe even punt return.
I'm trying to get on the field this year. I don't care where it's at. Last year it was kind of weird because I was on the bench, and that's never happened for me. So this year I've just been trying to go hard in practice, not take any plays off, and just know that practice translates to the game. So I'm trying to go hard.
Right, pretty well splitting time with the one basically with the top unit slot.
Yes, sir. Bryce, last year he was over me, so we really play off each other. Like he'll have a good play, and then I'm like, okay, I need to turn it up. Let's go. And then he see me get a big play, and then he knows he needs to match that too. So I feel like we're really good, and we complement each other.
Quoting the stats on the 2-on-2 earlier, and Coach Guyton said, "Yeah, it wasn't the best period." How did y'all bounce back? What did y'all do well the rest of practice today?
We bounced back. We bounced back. We started to lock in. Practicing in the morning, everybody still had to wake up. We got to wake up. So once we get outside and the sun starts to hit us and everybody's locked in, it became a great practice.
Yeah, I would say we started off a little flat, and it's a good competition every day. I feel like we go back and forth. Yesterday we beat the DBs in 2-on-2s. Today they had the better of us, but I would say we finished good. We finished where we needed to be.
Your teams are
everybody was
the whole offense shined in 2 minutes. It's just you don't want to just key in on one player, because even when one player makes a play, somebody was responsible for that play. Even if the old line blocking for the quarterback throwing the ball, like it's not just one player. So I feel like the whole offense as a whole.
One of y'all scored in the 2 minutes, or somebody scored.
Yes, sir. So I would say, the way our offense works, if somebody's open, that means that somebody else did their job and got you open.
Andrew, you talked a minute ago about knowing Nudie since the 7th grade or something. Just wondering kind of what your impressions are of him as a player. Maybe have you seen him progress, and what it's been like going against him in practice, and And Isaiah, I'd be curious your thoughts on Nudie too. Just what makes him a good corner.
Yeah, it was actually snacked out me since 7th grade, but Nudie, yeah, you could, but Nudie,
Scratch that part. Just what you think about Nudie.
yeah, Nudie, man, I go against him try to go against him every day because I know like he's very smart. Like he knows exactly what's coming. So you have to really be honed in on your technique going against Nudie because if you mess up on the smallest thing, like you're not going to be open. So I feel like Nudie is great at what he does. He you could tell he watches film. He would definitely watch his film, no matter if it's practice game. He definitely watches film. So I feel like that's a great aspect you need in a cornerback on your team.
You can see that Nudie's experience really comes into play. He's been in the SEC for a little bit, and he's guarded some great receivers. So you just got to be on point with all your routes and stuff. You can't give anything away, or he's gonna key on that. And he like Andrew said, he really watches his film. So you really got to switch up your stuff whenever you're going against him. But I mean, he's a great player,
I'm sorry.
and he's gonna be great this year.
If you're out on College Avenue driving, behind somebody driving 22, it might drive you nuts. But what's it like as a person to be running 22 miles an hour like you guys can? I mean, what's that feel like?
It feel regular cool. Y'all right running beside each other. So it's like we're trying to see who's gonna run the fastest. But when the times came out that we all ran at 22, I was really amazed myself because I didn't think I give all credit to the strength staff and the training staff because they got our hamstrings feeling great. So we able to actually stride at it and run. So
Yeah, I mean, what's that like on your legs running that?
I'll just say iron sharpens iron, and so one person hit 22, the next person is like, oh yeah, now it's my turn. I got to get that. I got to top that.
Yeah.
So
we all over there.
yeah, it's just all competition in our room. But we call ourselves the slide outs, and I mean, you can really see it because a lot of people are over 22, and it's nothing to play with.
Okay, one more. Right, I might have misunderstood Kenny. I think he said at halftime of the bowl game, he said something to you about he wasn't real happy with the way you ran a route, like it was a middle school route or something like that. But that must have resonated with you. Kind of, what do you remember about that, and how'd you react to that?
Yeah, so right before halftime against Kansas, I didn't run the best route, and then KJ ended up throwing an interception. And I really felt like that was my fault. So, I go back and watch that a lot, and that just makes me want to work even harder and stuff. And I'm gonna keep that in the back of the mind this year whenever I'm going against these other DBs, and just know that I'm gonna get my payback.
And you guys talk about going. I mean, what have you all gone 23, 24 miles an hour, or is 22 top end?
Not yet.
I'm just curious. We saw Malachi make a couple really good throws during the 2-on-2 today. What have you seen from the freshman quarterback so far?
I'm saying Malachi is really like he's fast too. He's really fast. I wouldn't be surprised if by the time he leave here and go on the greater things, he's going to smack 22 miles per hour probably. He also can throw the ball very well. He zips it. He knows how to throw it deep, throws it right on the money and the bread basket. He's going to be a great asset to this team.
I would say Malachi's accuracy has gotten a lot better just from whenever I first started throwing with him. His deep ball was always there, but just his intermediate routes, I mean, his digs, slants, his bangs are all on point right now. I mean, the timing is there, and I just feel like he's going to be a really great quarterback